Hello, good evening. BJ, are you there? All righty. Is Mayor Pro Tem in chambers by chance? Is she there? Okay. I can barely hear you.
Let me go see if she's in the building. I'll be right back, okay?
Okay, great. Thank you. All righty, guys, let's go ahead and get started. Counselor Aaron Salazar is excused for this meeting. Okay. Okay, are we ready now?
Yes, can you hear me?
All righty, sounds good. All right, good evening, everybody. It is now 6:02, the third day of October of 2023. I hereby call this meeting to order. If we can take roll call, please.
Chairman Justin Salazar Todes,
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Peggy Sue Martinez, Counselor Manuel Martinez,
Present.
Counselor Aaron Salazar.
Excused. I will ask that Mayor Pro Tem, please unmute your mic. I couldn't hear you.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Alrighty, committee members, before you is our agenda. Can I get a approval, please?
Motion to approve.
Okie dokie. Looks like we got a motion from Councilor Manny Martinez for the second from Mayor Pro Tem. All those in favor, let's go ahead and do a roll call since some of us are on Zoom.
Chairman Justin Salazar Todes,
In favor.
Mayor Pro Tem Peggy Sue Martinez,
Favor.
Counselor Manuel Martinez,
In favor.
Counselor Aaron. Salazar.
Alrighty. Looks like we've got ourselves an agenda. Did anybody sign up for public comment?
No, not today.
All righty, next up on the agenda is committee member comments, and as always, ladies first, Madam Mayor Pro Tem.
I don't really have too much. Just want to thank the staff and welcome Mr. Lujan to his first committee meeting. As always, you know, I see numerous trucks throughout the day. I realize how hard it is for you guys to get the jobs done sometimes, and I appreciate all your hard work, specifically trash. I know you guys had a breakdown today. Appreciate you getting that rectified and continuing to do the job that this community needs so very badly. Definitely want to work on getting you guys those new vehicles so that it's not so difficult for you and we're not dealing with breakdown after breakdown. But we look forward to that. Okay. That's it.
All righty, thank you. Counselor Manny Martinez.
Thank you, Chair. I just want to echo Mayor Pro Tem. I appreciate the staff for all that they're doing. I did. I know I saw some of the city trucks there on La Jolla Street this morning. About, I guess, close to about 8 o'clock around that time. They look like they're getting ready to do some work. So I look forward to hearing Elijah and see what they did, because I didn't go through there this afternoon, so I'm not sure. I'm hoping that they were working on that area where the road was really bad. So that's what I'm hoping for, but I look forward to hearing what he has to say. My apologies to the staff and to all you all for being on Zoom. Right now, just so you guys know, I am taking care of my 4-year-old granddaughter. She's staying with me, so I have a new little routine now. That's how come I was going to La Jolla Street to take her to school this morning. So, but my apologies for being on Zoom. And welcome, Mr. Lujan. Good to see you there, sir.
All righty, thank you, Counselor Manny Martinez. And no need to apologize, Senor. That's more important. And my apologies, Lanel traffic was just a little bit rough, so that's why I was unable to make it into chambers on time. I didn't want to start the meeting super late. But next up on our agenda is matters from the chair. I've got nothing right now other than, of course, we appreciate the staff and all that they do for us. Next up is we have the approval of the minutes for the September 5th Public Works Committee meeting.
Motion to approve as presented.
Second.
Alrighty, looks like we've got ourselves a motion from Mayor Pro Tem Martinez and a second from Counselor Martinez. Roll call vote, please.
Chairman Justin Salazar Torres,
In favor.
Mayor Pro Tem Peggy Sue Martinez,
Also in favor.
Counselor Manuel Martinez.
In favor.
Alrighty, looks like we've got ourselves some minutes. Next up, our discussion recommendation items to full council. We're going to call up Mr. Talcott to the hot seat again. The floor is yours, sir. This is request for replacement of sludge pump.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Council members. First item I'm requesting for replacement is a sludge pump. This is a sludge pump that feeds the centrifuge dewatering machine. It's one of two. The current cost is $17,579. I'm currently using the two pumps we have to pump at efficiency of about 60%, which I can get a total of maybe 70 gallons per minute out of two pumps that should pump at least 100 gallons per minute. With this, it will cost wear and tear on both pumps, and also the cost of extra electricity used to use two pumps instead of one.
Or Mayor Pro Tem, is your mic on? I don't know. I can see if you're sort of
I
talking or
do
not.
have the mic on. There's three different items here, just so that everybody's aware of. There's the sludge pump, the Hatch WIMS program, and contract engineering fan press. So during the last purchase that we had, the emergency purchase, which was the centrifuge
Yes, ma'am.
repair, right? Can you give us an update on what happened with that?
Yes, I was going to give that during my report, which is after this, but currently it has been repaired and we are back on track and the plant is recovering. So currently we're back online.
The total
in-
cost of that was?
I believe close to $150,000.
And that was emergency repair, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So what is the price of this? You're talking about one sludge pump and you're saying that we normally utilize two, correct?
Yes, I do need two pumps, but I figured I'd get one now and one later. Because the plant, like I've expressed before, is old. Causes of effect is one, we don't have a grit system. It's very harsh on the equipment, wear and tear. That is a proposal I'm trying to put together, which is not a cheap endeavor. The piston, the grit removal system itself is $350,000. That does not include that integration and installation. And so I'm waiting for those numbers to present at the next meeting.
I believe the last time that I had spoken to somebody in the manager's office before Mr. Luan had come on board, that it was decided that we needed to have the engineering company that either designed it or the engineering company that was on contract come and do another evaluation on it so that we can
On the
see
grid system?
on everything.
Yes, and I am currently been in meetings with that. A priority list was set up. I met with Boot with Geo. I can't remember the company.
Geoscience.
Geoscience, yes. I met with Jody Garcia with Solder Miller Associations,
Mhm.
and I met with Ramon with, I believe he's with our RCAC.
Mhm.
And then I met with Robert, and I'm not sure his affiliation, just that he's hired by the city for
Robert Apodaca.
I'm
Yeah. Do we know when that report will be ready?
well, part of it has already been presented. I gave it to Sally. It was a priority list. I was also going to, I was asked just to give the priority list. But each line item needs a detailed explanation and cost. And that's going to take some time to gather all that together because
Are any of those three things that are on this list on that list?
I didn't catch.
Are any of the three things on this list on that priority list?
I believe so. That would be the engineering of the fan press.
So I'd like to chime in here if possible. I'm kind of on the same track with Mayor Pro Tem. I'd like to see if City Manager Lujan does have an update, if he was with Sally or got with Sally with some of these items to see what was discussed, because I'd like to see that priority list and kind of tackle things as we go, as you know, high risk to little to none, but see where we're at there.
Mr. Chairman, I have gone through the priority list with Mr. Apodaca, and I have met with Rodney and been informed by Sally and moving forward, because if having visited his facility and knowing what he needs and keeping up with the upgrades and moving to a higher technology in the system, we have to really prioritize and looking at it and where his budget's going to fit in on this, especially now moving forward with finances and bringing on board a new finance director and helping them to all work with my directors.
So then follow up to that, and you brought up his budget. So with these three items that are being spoken of tonight, what falls within the purview of his budget currently?
They're all within his budget right now, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Mayor Pro Tem, Councilor Manny Martinez, do you guys have anything to add on this?
Motion to approve the sludge pump, one sludge pump purchase at 17 plus.
A second on that. And no questions there, Chair.
All right, thank you, Councilor Martinez. Already, if we can get a roll call vote for this, please.
Chairman Justin Salazar Torres,
In favor.
Mayor Pro Tem Peggy Sue Martinez,
In favor.
Councilor Manuel Martinez.
In favor.
All righty. Looks like we've got a replacement of the sludge pump. Next item on the agenda, still Mr. Talcott. It's a request to purchase the Hatch WIMS program. You can go ahead and present, sir.
Next item on my list is the Hawk WIMPS program. We had an EPA inspection approximately about a year and a half ago. And one of their concerns was our data processing and reporting system. We're pretty much just using Excel right now. And we had a second inspection about 3-4 months ago. And their concern was more on the lab side of it. This program was recommended, or a similar program, this is the one I choose, for data recovery, reporting, and gathering, so it can simplify simply all our data is entered into this program, and then anybody in our plant or city council or that has the ability to literally go into this program and tell them exactly how the plant is running at this point. All our reports will be confined into this system. Okay, and I believe the proposed cost is I thought I brought it with me. $29,494.
Already, I got a question for that. I'm not sure if I heard you correctly, but is this a sole source program, or is there other programs out there that that can do the same thing?
He's asking whether or not this is a sole source, or there are other programs available that do the same thing that this program
There
does.
are other sources, other examples available. This system I picked particularly because I've used it before. They used it in the city of Las Cruces. There's other programs out there that I'm not familiar with. I can reach out to them, but I'm pretty sure the cost will be either the same or more, depending on it. This is one of the best companies in the country. Hawk is a leader in scientific lab technology for wastewater and water industries. And we currently use multiple of their testing equipment and systems. Both water and wastewater use their testing equipment. So this would be what I would recommend to use. The ability would be anybody who has this program attached to their computer anywhere in the plant will be able to download, update daily testing at that point, and we can read. And if the city manager wanted me to print out a report, I can hit a button. It will tell you the condition of all our sampling in a button. It will give us graphic readings, trench charts. It will show how well the plant's operating. And the next time I have an EPA inspection, all I have to do is just download it all. It'll be all right there on a whim.
Does the program have the capability of following periodic maintenance?
This is more Deer Corp designed for lab
Laboratory.
reporting. It's not meant for the maintenance. Now, I did discuss that with them. There is some options but that would increase the costs, quite a bit. They have multiple versions of this type of program.
I have some concerns about procuring things that are over $20,000 without going into a request for proposal. That's the concern that I have. I'd like to hear from my fellow counselors.
Counselor Manny Martinez.
Thank you. I too have a concern with that as well, Mayor Pro Tem. I do have that concern as well, ma'am. I'd like to see more on it or see if there's other proposals that we could look at. Over.
Is it possible, Mr. Talcott, that you could create a scope of work for this type of program and see what else is available and what the cost would be so that we could have some cost comparisons?
As towards the maintenance program part of it,
Whatever the program covers in its entirety.
I would have to investigate that.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna chime in here and say I'd like the same. I'd like, if this isn't sole source and there's other companies out there, I'd like for more of it to come. So with that said, I'd like to ask my fellow committee members if they would like to table this to the next That way it doesn't fall off the wayside, we keep it alive.
That's fine. Motion to do so, sir.
Thank you.
Second,
All righty, thank you. We've got a motion from Mayor Pro Tem and a second from Councilor Martinez to table the request to purchase the Hawk WIMS program table it to our next committee meeting, which was tentatively scheduled for November 7th. If we can take a roll call vote, please. I'm sorry?
Is that election day, sir?
November 7th, you are right, I believe. Give me 1 second. Sorry about that. It is election day, so we can we can just table this to our next meeting and then discuss at the end of our agenda when we'd like to schedule.
That's fine.
All righty, we have a motion to table. If we can take a roll call vote, please.
Chairman Justin Salazar Torres,
In favor.
Mayor Pro Tem Peggy Sue Martinez,
In favor?
Counselor Manuel Martinez.
in favor, and I just want to thank this gentleman for being very proactive and continue to be proactive to make sure that everything is running smooth there at the plant. So thank you so much for that, sir.
All righty, next up on the agenda, it is discuss contract for engineering fan press. Mr. Talcott, the floor is yours.
The engineering of the fan press will do the city multiple benefits. With the installation of a fan press system, it will eliminate the maintenance and power costs of 3 blowers, 2 sludge pumps. One of them I'm asking to replace today. The discontinuation of the aerobic digester, which will no longer be needed. The removal of all 3 centrifuges, which cost us an average, a minimum of $100,000 a year plus. And also the removal of the sludge pumps that transfer from the thickening to that. So we'll eliminate 4 sludge pumps, 3 blowers, 3 centrifuges with 1 machine and 2 sludge pumps replacement. And that would also do away with our current polymer system, which will save us an estimated probably $2 million over the next 10 years. It would definitely, but in the meantime, I also got to continue maintaining what I have. But the proposal, if we can get this started, can save the city tremendous money down the line. Electrical cost, chemical cost, equipment maintenance cost will all go down tremendously.
I'm gonna motion to table this also. I feel like I want to see the priority list. I want to see the report from the engineering firm. I'm not really sure about changing the system completely over in my mind. I have a lot of concerns about that. So
This is from an engineering firm.
I'm gonna ask to table this to the next meeting.
Alrighty, a motion to table takes precedence. Councilor Manny Martinez.
I'll second that for her.
Okay, and just for clarification, Mayor Pro Tem, table to our next meeting, or when would you like it to?
That's fine. Thank you, sir.
Alrighty, thank you. If we can take a roll call vote, please.
Chairman Justin Salazar Torres,
In favor.
Mayor Pro Tem Peggy Sue Martinez,
In favor?
Counselor Manuel Martinez.
In favor.
Alrighty, motion passes. Thank you. Next up, our department reports. Mr. Talcott, you're still in the hot seat, sir. Mayor Pro Tem, Councilor Manny Martinez. Of course, we've had as a committee the chance to review the presentation that was submitted for this committee. Do you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns regarding the stats?
No, sir, no questions.
Alrighty, thank you, Mayor Pro Tem.
No questions as of yet.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Talcott, you're welcome to proceed with your presentation.
Okay, with our general duties that we're continuing doing in-house cleaning, daily testing, we have renewed the centrifuge system running. We've also renewed accepting OK's sewage as per our contract, or excuse me, their processed sludge into our digester. We did have to replace a pump on Cadice. Fortunately, we had a pump that we could replace it with. I was gonna present the cost of the replacement of that pump in the next meeting. I do have 3 quotes. They're roughly about $50,000 to $55,000, including either we repair or replace that pump. And then, as I said, we continue with the centrifuge being processed, and everything seems to be recovering well.
All righty, great. I would really love to see if we can get our hands on that priority list. I know that'll help this committee a lot to sort of distinguish and determine what's needed in your department, sir. We appreciate you. Mayor Pro Tem, do you have any other questions or anything else you'd like to add for wastewater?
I just, I feel the same way. I would really like to see the engineering report that came away from the inspection that happened. Also, would love to see the priority list. And also, I would urge any of you that have an opportunity to do a walkthrough at the plant with Mr. Talcott and get familiarized with what they do. Had opportunity to walk through the lab. Very interesting how they're doing things, and I was pretty impressed with that portion of it. There is a stench coming out of the main building. I thought that the stench actually was coming from the sludge in the yard, and I was unpleasantly surprised that it was not. So I do have concerns about the safety of the people that work for us in that building, and just in general about things that are happening over there. So I would urge you guys, if you have an opportunity, to please get an opportunity to go do a walkthrough over there. I think it's pretty interesting how that plant works. So other than that, I'll ask you, Mr. Lujan, that when you get that report, please email it to this committee members at least, and possibly to all city councilors, so that we can have an idea about what's happening, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Councilor Manny Martinez, anything for wastewater?
No, sir. I'm good on what Mayor Pro Tem said. I'm good with that, and I'll wait to see what the report says when I get it.
Alrighty, sounds good. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Talcott. Have yourself a good evening. Alrighty, next up in the hot seat is Mr. Francisco with the Sanitation Department. Mayor Pro Tem, Councilor Martinez, as always, you've had a chance to look at the stats and so forth for this department. Any questions, comments regarding the stats?
I don't really have any questions. I just, I'm concerned about, the constant upkeep and the toll that is taking on the department, and how hard the day-to-day becomes if you don't have the truck available that you absolutely need. I'm very concerned about that. I feel like at this point, at least one of those trucks could be considered emergency purchase. And we, as a governing body, have a responsibility to try and make things as doable for our staff as possible. So I would really urge this committee to do what they can to at least order one truck as an emergency purchase, and then RFP the rest of the stuff if that's what we have to do.
Alrighty, and if I might chime in there, Mr. Francisco. So when this was on our agenda for this committee, we did ask that we separate, the 2 vehicles and then keep 1 vehicle, whichever one was, urgent for you. And if I'm not mistaken, I think the mayor had taken it off the agenda, but I want to know if it's going to come back on the agenda, or where we stood with that determination.
Mr. Chair, thank you for that. It was already approved by this board to take it to full council. And in 2 different separated items, which I did, and it was kind of tabled till the next meeting because of the budget not being approved. So it's already been, as far as my recollection is that it has already been approved by this board to go forth to full council with the purchase of these vehicles. So that was my intent. However, we do have some major difficulties. All of the quotes that were given to me are currently expired. One of them, I'm not sure that I will have. There was a truck that was actually on the ground and ready to mount the compactor onto, and we would have had it within 30 to 90 days. But that truck is now gone. It's been sold. There is as everybody knows, there is a strike from the manufacturers strike that is going to play a humongous toll on getting anything anytime soon. We're already looking at another 2 years out for the smallest vehicle now. So it's pretty imperative that a decision be made so that we can move forward with something. We are currently in violation of operating the way that we are with our smaller routes and handicap pickups. So I think something needs to be done.
Commissioner Francisco, I want to apologize. I really, really do want to apologize that one vehicle purchase should have been done and it should have come before this governing body. That's why we asked for two separate, purchases so we can get this taken care of. This 30 to 90 days was very easy for you to swallow, other than waiting the 2 years for the other vehicles. But I'd like to give a directive to City Manager Lujan and to yourself to see what we can do to find you guys that compactor truck or from somewhere, so we can at least get that purchase, because you said that would make your lives just a little bit easier, correct?
Yes, sir. I mean, there's still a lot of stuff coming down the pike. That's the trucks are. It's a major part of our ability to continue collection for the city of Espanola with the equipment that we currently have. We actually had one employee injured recently that has been out for a few days, and now it looks like it's going to be for a few weeks. So, and this is all due to exactly what we've been talking about with the roads conditions, the equipment that we are currently used, and somebody jumping in and out of a pickup. So these injuries are going to be continuous. I think that it's imperative that the city make a decision. The decision was made already by the city to take on this endeavor. So this is something that may have been not a full thought out, but the equipment needs to be here, as well as the facility to be able to facilitate the material that we're handling is going to be expiring in the near future, and something's got to be done with the facility as well. So the
City
truck-
Manager
trucks
Lujan.
is just a small portion of the whole thing.
City Manager Lujan, this committee has already recommended these items that Mr. Francisco is speaking about go to full council. I know it was pulled because of the budget issues and whatnot, but just to keep it on your radar and on the mayor's radar for the next agenda for city council meeting, that these items be on there, that'd be great.
Absolutely, Mr. Chairman, and I met with Mr. Francisco at length this morning to discuss this, and he brought me the same news that he just presented to you, Mr. Chairman, and that's kind of disheartening, but it is where we are right now, and moving fast on getting this specific equipment to the city, and then looking at his long-term plans. It'll also come before this committee as well, Mr. Chairman.
Alrighty, thank you. Mayor Pro Tem, Councilor Manny Martinez, anything you'd like to?
I just received a text telling me that there's an auction in Denver tomorrow, Ritchie Brothers Auction. They're selling 3 of those trucks. Are you aware of that?
I'm not aware of it. I mean, I think that we have enough used equipment and the
You want to do
lifespan.
that?
I'm not sure that this is something
even worth-
wise for us to be doing, but I mean, I have not seen it. No, I have not.
So my understanding, Chairman, is a little different from my understanding was that there was an issue as to how this was procured. That was the reason that it was pulled. That was my understanding. Now, I'm not sure that that's the case. I'm not sure that that's not the case, but whatever the reasoning was behind not being able to do this, I think it needs to get rectified, whether it means getting more comparison bids, whether it means the RFP process, whatever that means. I think it's something that needs to be done as expedited as possible. Like I said earlier, I believe that one truck is an emergency purchase at this point. I think that would fly in the face of any situation because of the way that things have been breaking so regularly for these guys. So I think that that's probably doable under an emergency purchase for the one truck. Now, the other two, I would think need to be looked at closer and figured out how we're gonna handle it. Now, it goes back to, okay, who's in charge of finance? So can you tell me if you've had any success in recruiting anybody for finance?
Mr. Chairman, Mayor Pro Tem, yes, I have. We've, myself, Mr. Robert Apodaca, and Chief Garcia interviewed the only applicant that we had. I did have another person in mind coming currently from the Municipal League, a former Deputy Director of Finance from the City of Santa Fe, but circumstances as they have occurred in the city and negative social media scared her off. However, we did have another applicant that came out of DFA. We interviewed her. The chief and I, Mr. Apodaca, met, and we decided to make her an offer and to hire her. The background check has been sent out. It will be completed tomorrow. And I have her offer sitting on my desk. So I believe her start date is going to be the 11th, Madam Mayor Pro Tem.
All righty, and if I may just chime in to give Mayor Pro Tem a little bit of the timeline, and Mr. Francisco, correct me if I'm wrong, but the first meeting this was brought to us, it was, I believe, when the mayor did join us for that committee meeting, and we just couldn't, we were kind of thinking about it, finances and stuff. We were all in limbo. We didn't know where nothing was at. So then therefore it was pushed to table. Then it came back before us again for another committee meeting, and that's where therefore we decided to go ahead and split the one truck. I believe it's a compactor truck that we said, okay, let's go to move that forward. The other two, we said, let's send it, but send it in two different packages. So that way, therefore, we just didn't kill them all right away. But that first meeting, we were very concerned, and there was concerns from the committee of the financing and, the expiration date on contracts, whatever. And we were going to look at the state finance and so forth like that. But just to kind of give you a rough timeline on where this has all been. But now this governing body, we have an obligation because we've already pushed these items through. Now the council and the mayor have an obligation to listen to it and bring it forward to full council.
I recommend the emergency purchase on that small truck also, Chairman. I do believe that it's very important and very serious at this point. I would recommend that the city manager work with Mr. Francisco and see if they can expedite some vehicle here to our community in a very near future, what the cost of that would be, bring that to our very next council meeting or have a special meeting for that specific purpose in itself. And let's try and get at least one truck rectified for you guys, making sure that is
If I may, to clarify, Chairman's comments about the of why it got, I think the question was CES, and that was the question. So CES is a contract that the city is contracted to be able to purchase vehicles and other things. And it's already gone through procurement. It's a contract that has already been quoted for for governments and including the state and other government entities. The city is in that contract as well and has purchased equipment through CES for years. So I'm not sure exactly what the question was, but it was brought up that CES seemed to be a portion of the determining factor of why it was tabled. I don't think.
And
that
I
it was-
understand it at a clear level. I think that that was one of the state auditors.
Mayor Pro Tem, I think you may have muted your mic.
So I think that was the reason that there was some extra scrutiny on the city's part concerning CES. And just so that everybody understands, it is a pre-approved contract through the state that's supposed to go through the state CES. So the city would not do business with the business. We would not purchase from the business.
That's correct.
We would purchase, Counselor, welcome. We would purchase from CES. We would make our payments to the state CES. They in turn would pay them and they collect 6% off the top.
Correct.
So that would be the way that would be handled. And I think that's what the reasoning was behind that. I'm not exactly sure. I'm just speculating. But either way, at this point, I feel like things have changed a little bit, like you said. I think the one truck becomes all that more necessary at this point. And I think it's just important to see if what we can do. But the law does allow for emergency purchase. I do believe that this does meet the requirements for emergency safety and well-being of the community. I do believe that this truck deals with those two issues. So I would recommend that you guys take a look at that and call us back as soon as you have it, and let's look at it and see if we can approve it and get it done. And then we'll work on the other two.
Very good.
Alrighty, thank you, Mr. Francisco. Again, just a directive to make sure that these two items get on our next city council agenda, please.
Oh, wow.
Or I mean, an emergency meeting to purchase these so we can get stuff going.
Mr. Chairman, just for clarity, you want to see this on the October 11th meeting, October 10th meeting?
Yeah, because it was supposed to be on our last meeting, if I'm not mistaken, but it was taken off, so.
Absolutely, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Mr. Francisco, is there anything else, sir, you'd like to present to the committee?
There was one other thing that I was looking at on I do have some other welcome news. I did, and it's not, I don't believe it's on there. So I had been in contact with Santa Fe County and they were accessing some equipment that is needed by the like kind of business that we're in, and they were roll-off containers that they were accessing. And Santa Fe County graciously donated 8 of them to us, and we did get those in our possession as of this week. We did have it was last week. We did have a breakdown on our truck collecting them, but they were even more gracious to deliver most of them to us. So I want to give I would like to give them, especially Commissioner Green, a big thank you for giving us this donation of some equipment that is really needed for what we do. So I just wanted to let you guys know that that has been done. There was a little bit of work on my end to get that donation done, and it makes me feel good that they're behind us.
What you use those roll-offs for, Mr. Francisco?
So the roll-offs, so we don't have any roll-offs. So the roll-offs that we currently have are rented from a contractor that does all of our hauling for us. So we rent a series of them that go to big box stores like Lowe's, and the schools, and Espanola Public Schools has a few. So what we do is we rent them. What I originally wanted to do with this is the city, it has been brought up by Mayor Pro Tem and that she would like to see some city cleanups come to light. And this will be a step closer to that coming to fruition. We do have some other cleanups that are priority, such as down. And I kind of took this upon myself and with the last city manager to start cleaning up the compound with some of the scrap metal that we have there. And these units would be coming really super handy for hauling off the scrap metal that the city has. And other things. I think that we have some buildings that we can look at that are in need of demolishing and stuff that we can haul this material out in these bins. So they will be, it could save us a lot of money down the road instead of having to rent. We can use some of these for that, and then also for some of the special projects that are going on throughout the city to handle. So,
What was the amount of rent we were paying? Over $1,000 a month, ¿verdad?
we are paying, it's over it's over $1,000 a month. It's $175 per container that we rent. And we're still continuing to rent them because no one really made a decision for me to put them to use yet. So I was wanting to meet with, I know that with some of the information that I've already given the city manager, bless his heart. There's a lot of information that in sanitation that we're planning on growing for the city citizens. I mean, this is something that they deserve and
We
for
will
us.
be returning the ones that we're renting.
I'll have to talk to the city manager about that soon, but yeah, I think eventually we will be able to. They're not all the same sizes that there are. The ones that we're renting are currently 30-yard roll-off containers, and what we have in our possession are 40-yard roll-offs. So the 40s will come in super handy for most of those applications, but some of them will still require 30s. So
Smallest one they make, 20?
the smallest one they make is probably like a 10-yard. But the most common ones are 20s, 30s, and these 40s. So the most common ones are the 30-yard containers.
All righty, and let the record show, sorry to interrupt, that Counselor Aaron Salazar has joined us. Welcome, Counselor.
Thank you. My apologies. Had a work emergency, but turned out good. So thank you.
No worries, that's important. Counselor Manny Martinez, anything for sanitation?
No, sir. I just want to, sorry, I can't talk right now. Seems like, I just want to say, we stepped into this, we got into this, and we just need to make sure that he has everything that he needs and all the tools, trucks, whatever he needs to get this job done. Sanitation is very important, and we just need to make sure we not just get what we need today, but make sure we plan ahead for years to come so that this department is thriving. Thank you.
Absolutely, thank you. Counselor Aaron Salazar.
I might have missed it. I'm not sure. Mr. John, what's the status on the vehicle for the small roads for the pickups instead of using the small truck? Is that one of the ones that are in order?
Yeah, well,
One
the
order.
one that we've discussed to catch you up with what happened was just to catch you up with what happened was the bid was expired. And now with the strikes on General Motors and Ford and all this is going to really delay. And I'm not sure if just the delay is a part of it. It could be a cost factor as well. So we don't know we just don't know. I don't have any new information at this point.
On the new vehicle, is there any good used ones maybe that we could?
Not that I found. It's funny that I did find one that I was really impressed with, and but it actually had a salvage title. So it was, we have enough of the used stuff. I think we're asking for it. Thank you.
All righty. Mr. Francisco, is there anything else you'd like to present to the committee?
No, sir. Mr. Chair, thank you for your time.
We appreciate you. Thank you so much. All righty. Next up on our agenda is General Services Department. We have with us Mr. Sargent. Committee members, y'all have had the chance to look at the stats and so forth for this department. Any questions, comments, or concerns regarding stats?
No, sir.
Okay, I see nobody else. All righty, Mr. Sergeant, you can present to us what you'd like, sir.
One of the main things that I've got going on that I've been trying to work on is the play structure that we would like to get put in at Valdez Park with Representative Susan Herrera's money that she has generously gotten for the city. Elijah, Jeremy Smith, myself, and Sally have met a few times. And one of the items that two of the items was the skate park with improvements and also with a basketball court installation. So that is one part of what we're looking at doing with smaller construction type crews that will be up and coming. We're also trying to get funding through a grant for what's called a pump track. It's like a BMX bike, like pump track, but it could also be used by skateboarders as well. But what I am working on right now that I had actually received a bid on was a completely new all-inclusive play structure that would replace the one we have at the base of our parking lot in the east side of the building, right below the hill. This would be a unit that would create a space for everybody, for all the kids 5 to 12 years old, that would be ADA accessible with new swings. And we also got a chance to get in a grant through this company called Game Time, so where they would pay 50% of the actual cost of the structure. So we got to that point. We got it all ready to where I was going to put it on the previous agenda to get placed for approval. And that's where we ran into the big snafu of CES and the audit finding on it as far as procurement. So that's on hold. So I'm waiting to see if there's another method that we could use to try and get this, but this grant we're going to lose at the end of this month. And that's all I have.
That's unfortunate to hear. Counselor Salazar, anything to add for Mr. Sergeant?
No, sir, not at this time.
Mayor Pro Tem?
No, sir.
Counselor Manny Martinez, sorry, I just saw the little hand go up.
That's okay. I know you go down the line, sir. Mr. Sergeant, how about the work on as far as the one in Ranchitos Park? I know that there was some money that was allocated to improve that park. Where are we on that standing, sir?
So we are actually working with Mr. Apodaca, who is helping us with our CDBG program, as well as some other projects throughout the city. We actually have a meeting tomorrow at 3:30 to 4:30 with Stephen Lacey, who is our DFA representative working on that project. Looks like the work that we had done previously, previous administration, one of the big things that we had to push through and get past was getting an environmental study. That environmental study has since expired in the eyes of DFA. So we're going to have to redo the environmental study. And what the study is we have to send out letters to multiple entities, tribal nations, groups, to try and see if they have any objections to the work that is going to be done on the location. So I can give you more information on the CDBG project at our next Public Works meeting next month. based on the information that we gather tomorrow and hopefully continue to work on during this month of October.
I have one.
Thank you,
question,
sir.
Chairman,
Mayor Pro Tem?
if you're done, Council Martinez,
Yes, ma'am, I am. Go right ahead.
thank you, sir. I'm wondering if there's a plan for fixing the signage at the park up here. And I'm not sure about Valdez. I think Valdez is okay. I'm not sure about Ranchitos. But I know that the park up here at Vietnam, the lettering has been completely sunbeaten and destroyed because of, you know, being out there a long time. That reflective material tends to burn up a little bit. And I'm just wondering if there's material that would be more durable, or is it something that we could work on as far as a design, or is there any plan for any of that?
I will defer to Elijah.
Thank you. Mr. Chair, members of the committee here. That was brought back to this committee. It was asked of me to find that on there. It was a cost at that time of around $12,000 to $14,000 for those signs. That department did not have the funding for it. And we didn't have any kind of funding for that one because there is four signs that are required because they're dual sided on each one. And there was a cost of, I think at that time, I don't know if it's gone up since, so I couldn't give you an accurate thing, but at that time it was $12,000 to $14,000. We just didn't have the budget for it. We had like a $5,000 budget for the entire park for the year. That was part of my increase of stuff to be able to get those kind of things done, but since then, those have all changed. So that was my original proposal on a lot of these budgets, were to increase some of these line items. And we weren't able to do that, and I'm not quite sure where we stand right now. But those was brought here, because I know you had requested of me to get those, and I did bring them to you here. And they are more durable. It's the type that we use on the highways. So it's something that should last longer. So those were brought, but we didn't have the funding, so. But that you're looking in the ballpark, I think right now, maybe due to increases, because this was months ago. And I know months ago usually wasn't a big deal, but nowadays a few months makes a huge difference. So I couldn't really give an accurate, it could be anywhere between 12 and 20,000 to get those done. So I do not know. I can get those again if you would like.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Elijah. All righty, Mr. Sergeant, anything else? You'd like
That
this
is it.
committee to-
That is it, Chair.
Alrighty, I appreciate you guys. I appreciate Elijah and yourself, Jeff. I know you guys are being miracle workers right now with limited resources that you got and trying to keep these parks and keep everything going, because everything seems to be on life support in the city, but you have our commitment to try and get everything rolling.
Thank you.
All righty, next up in the hot seat, we have Field Operations Department. That would be Mr. Mott. You're back up, sir. Shouldn't have gone anywhere.
Had to keep you on the toes. Let's see here. Honorable Chair, members of the committee, Mayor Pro Tem. I do have my report here that I do have, and I know there's a couple of updates that Councilor Manny Martinez was curious about, and I'm sure a few others are, at some of the progress that's been going around town and what we're doing. We did have La Jolla that we did, he mentioned that we were being set up this morning. So all the long stretches that were highly damaged are been taken care of. We still have some minor ones on that road that we're going to try to take care of as much as we can in-house. And we did half the work there. So we did all the traffic control, all the prepping, everything on there. And we did have a company that was helping with the longer stretches there to bring in a machine to ensure that those stayed. And that was started last week, and those were completed today. So that project in that area at least is done for now. So I know there was a question on some of that before. Some of the councilors had concerns about that road. We also did help out with John there. I know he needs to redo that entire Paloma transfer station, but as of right now, we did help to stabilize it. We went up there and removed some of the failed areas of asphalt and replaced it with, a new subgrade on there. And we put new asphalt in place there. And John would have to be a testament as to how we did, because we know what it looks like, but he's the one that has to work on it. So he would be the one to be able to know, how well it was done for them. But we did go up there to do our best to help get them through there. Thank you, John. I mean, there's a lot of little things going around town right now. We're just trying to take care of these beautiful rains and wonderful heat. We've had nice sunshiny days. The weeds grow like weeds do. I know some of the medians look like we haven't touched them in a long time, but I assure you, if you look at my last report, there was medians that were done every month. We were out there at least once a month doing them all completely from one end of town to the other. It doesn't always look like it, but once again, it's the nature of what it is. I mean, it's just we're being blessed with these rains, so I guess we'll take it that we have to go clean those up more. So we're working on those again right now. Those are some of the current stuff that we're going there. Like I said, I know there's a few things are on our list that we did there. We have Parks is also working with the baseball league there with recreation in order to prep the fields as much as we can on our end here to have everything ready for the softball leagues on Monday and Tuesday. I believe it's a men's league on one, and then there's a league with both on Tuesdays, what I understand.
Co-ed.
Co-ed, sorry, I couldn't, it's been a long day. So we are working on that right there. Fleet also we had there, they were helping out with in coordinating with the police to make sure they had a shop available and help if they needed, because they had a lot of vehicles that had outdated holders for their computers, for their laptops, but they're also charging stations and other stuff there too. So they did have a company that came in and did it, but we made sure we cleared a space for them. We were there for when they were going to be there, and even some after hours to make sure everything was taken care of. So we did work with them as much as possible to ensure that those units were taken care of, as well as other units too. I mean, just any other normal stuff. We're pretty well caught up on a lot of this right now.
Thank you, Mr. Mares. Councilor Manny Martinez, anything for Mr. Mares?
I just want to thank you for working on La Jolla Street, sir. I appreciate that. I do have a question. Have we had any luck with NMDOT as far as South McCurdy Road and also Fairview Lane? Because I know there's some areas on Fairview Lane that dip on some patches that have been fixed, and I didn't know if NMDOT was responsible for repairing that as well, sir.
I could look into it as far as any kind of repairs that need to be done as far as cutouts, because some of those cutouts do belong either to the city, other types of utilities within town too. I mean, we repaired one today that we weren't quite sure who it belonged to, but since it was on our road and needed to be done and we were already there, we took care of that one. So I can reach out to them. As far as South McCurdy, I know they had done the engineering initially to have that completely done, but they ran into the bottleneck, of course, down on the south end of town where there's some historical buildings down there that we couldn't quite get around on that. So I'm not quite sure where they stand right now as to the full repair of that road. They're going to keep it a rural road because initially they were looking to actually to put sidewalk drainage and everything else on there and then be able to hand it over to the city fully completed. But since they weren't able to do that, I'm not sure. They were looking at possibly keeping it a rural road and just repairing what they can on it. So I can look into that right there to make sure and get any kind of those questions answered. And as far as Fairview there, like I said, I'll take a look at those and see if they're anything to do with them. If they're that bad, we will take care of them. We did start on Ballast Lane and a few other ones doing some repairs ourselves. But we had, like I said, there's a lot of different items that have been coming up. So we're trying to get those as much as we can. We're pulling asphalt all the way from Santa Fe to get some of these things done. And we're able to get sourced some locally. It's been over a year, but we were able to finally get some from here. We'll look to try to get as close as we can here, but if not, we will pull away from Santa Fe if we have to get some of this done. But like I said, the weather's starting to change. It's starting to become that thing where those days are getting numbered on the patching. So we're trying to get a lot of that taken care of.
Thank you, sir. Also, are we anywhere nearing to do any striping on Kiva Lane?
Zuni Lane.
I mean, sorry, Zuni Lane. Yes, you're correct. Sorry.
Okay, yes, I did reach out there. I'm waiting for a quote on that one right there from one of the companies we've utilized in the past. They're all state contract type pricing, so they're going to be competitive as to what they are, because most of these bigger companies are very close in pricing. So I'm waiting on that. In fact, I'll write that down on my notes here to make sure and check back with them tomorrow and kind of see where we're at on that one. I think a lot of people it's that time of year where everybody's trying to get stuff done before winter time. So trying to get on their priority list on on a small road that's 1,500 feet, or I can't remember what it was. We measured it out, but it's not very big, maybe kind of low on their priority when people have miles and miles of roads with multiple stripes. So, but I will still try to get that information though, because like I said, I have already looked into it. And if I can't get the answer from them, I'll go to a different company and we'll get the answers we need.
Thank you, sir. One more question. How are we doing with the lighting as far as working with Hemis and what needs to be done by the city? Or I know that you were working with Hemis as far as identifying what lights the city needs to repair and what lights Hemis needs to repair. Have we moved anywhere on that? Because I do notice that there is still a lot of lights out within the city.
For the ones that we are aware of directly, because we do get customers that give them to us, we do email a couple of people there at Hemis to put them out for repair. I'm not sure what their schedule looks like. We're probably gonna have to go back out and just do a light survey at night, because that's the easiest thing to do, and then do what we used to do. Because we used to do it monthly, but it got it's tasking. I mean, you're looking 6 to 8 hours at night to do that. One or two people doing that one. So we kind of held back on that one. But we can do, and we probably should do is a light survey again and get them a fresh list to make sure and start from zero on that one again. But there have been emails submitted to them for certain areas. And I have kept a list of the ones that we do have. So like I said, we can do another light survey. And that's probably something we probably should do. So I'll let the city manager know if we're gonna do that and kind of let them know the process of what.
I'm gonna send you my Hemis email, so that way you can include me on that, and that way I can follow up with who is going to in operations, and that way I can hopefully make sure that it doesn't fall between the cracks there.
I'd appreciate that.
Counselor Salazar, anything for Mr. Mares?
Well, I was just gonna ask about the hot mix, if you were still able to get the hot mix for the patches and stuff, but
As of right now, we're still able to get it, but there's been a few priorities that have been brought to my attention that were kind of, some of the medians and stuff here in town that they were wanting to improve on. So that's gonna kind of cut into that time of that. Right now, we're in that time of year where it's gonna be kind of, that window's gonna get shorter. So we are trying to do as much as we can, and we have another company that was helping us out with some of those that were the utility cuts.
yeah.
Trying to catch those up there, because there are some that are larger that makes it difficult for us without having the hot boxes and stuff like that to keep them. Because I know there's one at Coyote Del that's probably like 80 feet long or something like that, 60 to 80 feet long, and that's a little bit more difficult for us to get that distance without a lay down machine and just have, especially being a new road. So that's something I'm working with the utility department that it encompasses, and also the company that's going to come in and do the work.
We're still using the contractor.
Yeah, in fact, they were helping us today on the last of that one, because it was included on that longer part, because they brought in the machine to do the longer stretches that were there to ensure that they stay, we can do them by hand, but in order to ensure some of the longer ones like that. So that was included on that one, because at that time when we first reached out to them, we weren't able to get any kind of stuff. But now we found a company in Santa Fe that also will do asphalt for us, hot mix, because they have a small batch plant. One of the problems with Espanola, not one of the problems, but one of the issues that they have is the fact that theirs is a large batch type thing. They're really designed for large road work. Santa Fe has one that has a dual plant. They have the large road work and they have a small batch, they call it. So they're able to fire that up, on less of a cost and be able to supply us with that. So that does help.
I did see, back to the weeds here on Paseo de Oñate, guys are out there cutting for a couple days, look real nice. Couple days later, I mean,
Yeah, like I said, we're out there and it seems like a couple weeks later that like we were never there, or there's a new
Yeah.
fresh, bed of vegetation that comes back. So it's
Let's
a
look
never ending
nice.
battle right now.
It's looked nice around the city. I've noticed it's been cut down a lot, so thank you, appreciate that.
Alrighty, Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you. I just have a few comments. First, Elijah, thank you for you and your staff and all the work you do. The park has been much more maintained up here since you guys took care of it. Started taking care of it. So I know that your staff is sort of double taxed because you guys are all over and there's priorities to be had every day. And I know that you as a leader are making your priority list mentally every morning to see what's the first thing that has to get done, what's the second thing. So I know there's a lot going on, and I appreciate you juggling things around and making things stable to the best of your ability. I'm curious as to whether or not the city has ever considered utilizing some type of chemical to help with the growth of the weeds in the medians.
We have on that right there, we haven't really fully put that in there because once again, that was part of my new budget that was coming up with, and it included the parks to have that same type of budget. Those were initially there. Those were removed from there. And then now I'm not sure where we're at right now, to be honest with you. I don't know, it's just.
So that's a.
The hard truth right now is that I don't know where my budget stands. And a lot of those line items that I had put in there for that specific type of stuff, because not everything requires licensing. Especially the type of chemical that's being used there. If it's a restricted use product, of course, you need it. Over certain quantities, you need it. So there are some smaller ones that we can, smaller quantities and types of product that
Lighter.
we can use legally. So it's just a matter of where that budget sits. If I don't have that budget, it's hard for me to do it. I mean, we're working on Coronado right now too. In fact, that's another thing I forgot to mention. We're working with a new company now to have some of the lights repaired there for the flashing for the schools. I had one company come in at a $29,000 bid, and then I found a new company to do the same thing. Also works for the state and does everything else at $13,000. So huge savings there with that company. I just submitted for that yesterday to see if I can get a PO for that one, just because the price difference was so big. And the other company's been a good company to us, but I understand that they're probably taxed too. They're doing some of the larger projects around the state right now. But we have looked into it and making sure that we do get the best for the city there. And they're also ones that are being used by state government as well.
So the next thing I wanted to talk about was your staff and you being gracious enough to provide the in-house work that happened on that ramp at the transfer station. I mean, that in itself saved the city a lot in terms of it being a safety issue for those guys utilizing that ramp. Secondly, not having to wait any longer for a procurement process to happen and the whole thing to go through that deal. So the fact that you guys were able to step up in-house and be able to handle that is amazing. I thank you for doing that. I really believe that it's working out for us, correct? So that's awesome that you guys were able to do that. I had made a call to the acting city manager concerning East Pueblo and La Jolla. I realized that East Pueblo is supposed to be almost ready, shovel ready. I think it's at 90-some
It was a
percent.
90% that we last received on that one.
So I'm excited about that. But in the meantime, the potholes at East Pueblo and La Jolla have really gotten horrendous. I mean, I got pictures of them yesterday. They're pretty bad. I think one of the times that they did fill them in, either they didn't fill them into the top or they didn't put dirt underneath, so it sort of sunk right into the hole again.
That's if it's talking about East Pueblo, that's
water.
exactly where it's going. We've had some over the years that I'll be honest with you that we would go, this is way before I was even in charge of anything. We would fill it up and a week later be like, didn't you guys put anything? It's like, yes, we did. And so where it's going, I have no idea, but the ground there is so soft underneath that, and we ran into that today too in La Jolla where we did some of the patches when we took it down. After about 2-3 inches of base course, it's nothing but pure clay. And then unfortunately, there's so much saturation in there and high water table on that side of town that it saturates it and it allows that asphalt just to break. So we were able to take it down enough, add some more in there and stabilize it for now. Long term is probably, I mean, it is what it is on that road on La Jolla. So those are all taken care of on La Jolla. East Pueblo with another one of those that the road's just deteriorating. And so as we're putting stuff in there, it's just sinking right back in there or new spots coming up. It's just in bad shape. And that's why we're having to do the engineering. So we can go out there weekly, I guess, and take a look at that one, but that is a little time consuming. We are trying to keep up on that one as much as possible. So they are going out there. It's just a matter of that road. And that's why we're looking at the engineering on there.
The other issue that I had a concern with that I shared with Mrs. Baxter was there was a utility cut on Prince Drive right after R&E Glass.
It's done.
You guys handled it?
Yeah. That's the first one we did there, because I know there was a,
That was
there
horrible.
was a, there was a question on there, and I would get calls on that one, and it wasn't something we were trying to,
Did
once
we
again,
do that utility cut or did somebody else do it?
be honest with you, I didn't even look at it, I just know it was there. I know if it was gas, they always come right back behind, and they have somebody they had a contractor that would
Have a
follow behind them on that one. Who did that one? I'm not, honestly, I didn't even look at that. We just didn't know that that was a priority and that was something on there. So we fixed the shoulder that was real bad. So there's an area for some reason people like to drive on the shoulder and it
Waste it
continues
out.
to push everything out. So we filled that in. And then as soon as we were able to get hot mix, and that was the first patch we did was there. And then one on ballots, we still got more to do. But like I said, there's a lot of those and it's a matter of time right now of being able to get all those. So it's either the weeds, the patching, or the striping they want me to do, or those, I mean, there's 5 employees in that department. Streets only has 5 employees directly. Then there's
Parks has 2.
Parks has 3 right now.
3.
There's 1 mechanic, and then there's myself, my foreman, and an administrative assistant we have. So we are trying to do as much of these as we can right now. We are, like I said, I know we're juggling a lot of things there, but we are trying to make sure that the stuff that needs to keep people safe are done. And some of the stuff that needs to be done, it does we need our town to look good too. So I mean, that's not even a question on that one there too. So it's just those windows will get closer when it comes to the cleaning can be done year round. It's kind of hard to create frozen dirt, but we'll do it. But as far as the patching that goes though, we've been pretty good. So I think if it keeps right now the way it is, we'll be all right for a few more weeks. But we will make sure we get some of the other priorities that are in there in the meantime.
Thank you again, Elijah, for everything you do for the city of Espanola. I really appreciate your work.
Thank you.
Thank you, Elijah. Anybody else have anything for Mr. Mares? I don't see anything. So alrighty, Mr. Mares, have yourself a good evening. Thank you. Appreciate you.
Thank you, sir.
Alrighty, next up under department reports, we have the water department, Mr. Bryce. He is on Zoom. Councilors, Mayor Pro Tem, any questions, comments, or concerns for the report that Bryce submitted to us? I see none. Bryce, the floor is yours, sir.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. Pretty much, we had a major leak on State Road 76 in Kai Lucia. I do want to thank the Streets Department and Wastewater for assistance in our flagger operation and the use of Wastewater's water gun because our Vector water gun went down. So I do want to give a thanks to them for the help because it's we're pretty thin stretch as well. We're trying to do as much as we can with the employees we have. So other than that, I stand by for any questions.
Already, councilors, I can see if your hands or anything. So do you guys have anything for Bryce? Councilor Manny Martinez? Alrighty, I see none. Bryce, I appreciate you. Have yourself a good evening.
Follow up, Councilor.
Nope. Okay, Mayor Pro Tem?
Could you touch base a little bit on the sampling, how that's going and what's happening with that, Bryce?
Yes, Mayor Pro Tem. So our sampling has been very good lately. This coming month, we have our TTHMs that we now do once a year instead of quarterly. Our back tees have been pretty efficient and pretty steady. So I'm real happy on the way everything is running here in the system.
I wanted to say a special thank you to the guys that were out at the Calle Vuelta. That pipe was not able to get shut down for them to fix it, so they had to fix it with water running through it. I know it was a very muddy situation, a really difficult pipe to fix. The constituents from that area are extremely pleased with the staff that was out there. Please let every single person that helped, please let them know. I think some of the people were from wastewater also. Please let them know that those people certainly appreciate their hard work. I also wanted to recognize one of your water guys recently was helping to read the meter since we don't have a meter reader. I want you to know that I believe that it's very important for all departments to collaborate and work together whenever possible. I know that this puts a little bit of extra strain on each department because their jobs sort of go by the wayside while they're covering somebody else's situation. But those situations like meter reading that have to get done in an expedited way are so critical to the community and to that enterprise. And I appreciate the hard work that your staff is doing and appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and I will for sure pass the message along.
All righty. Thank you, Bryce. Have yourself a good evening.
All right, thank you. You too.
All righty. Next up in the hot seat, we have Utilities Department, Ms. Bustos. Is she in chambers?
No,
No.
sir.
No, sir.
Okay, I don't see her on Zoom either. Do you know City Manager BJ if she was going to join us?
I don't know if she was gonna join us and she didn't submit anything, so maybe she planned on not being here. I'm not too sure.
Okay, that's fine. If she does get stuff to us, we'll just get it emailed. Then lastly, but not least, on our department reports, we have Public Works Department, City Manager Eric Lujan. Anything you have for the committee, sir?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I met with most of my directors I'm always meeting with the light. I think and John has been in my office pretty consistently, which I don't mind. I'm learning more about them and getting more things done with them. I want to start with State Road 76, the sewer line installation. The engineering firm is Wilson and Company, and Wilson and Company will meet with NMDOT on the project. And after they get final information regarding traffic control plan and the estimates, having plans ready to bid in 2 to 3 weeks, Mr. Chairman. There's about 31,000 on the original contract, and this will take about 28,000 from what I believe is for redesign, because the design currently is outdated according to them. So they want an additional $28,000 to do the redesign, which I'm not too sure. This was before me, and this is something Sally worked on, but they just informed us about that today.
And then if possible, I'll chime in real quick. Counselor Manny Martinez had to get off. He had a family emergency, but I know this project is near and dear to his heart. So if you can, shoot him an email just to give him an update.
Okay, absolutely, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Staff is working on an ordinance required by the New Mexico NMED, the Environment Department, to increase the funding for the construction on the project. And the funding is a Clean Water State Revolving Fund. And the proposed increase is a total of $4 million now, Mr. Chairman, on that project. And continuing on New Mexico DOT and their funding, the city received notice from NMDOT that the completion time for the 3 projects can be extended, and which is Fairview Drive, Camino Miramontes, and the general use funds. The council approved resolutions for these in August with the deadline of June 30th, 2024, but staff will bring these to council again to recommend extending these until December 31st, 2023 to give ourselves extra time to avoid having the funds clawed back. And Mr. Chairman and members of the committee, this falls under the provisions of Mr. Robert Apalaca. And it's going to be my strong suggestion, Mr. Chairman, with your permission, that he comes before this committee to explain the shovel-ready projects that we have pending, which include what I'm going through right now, Mr. Chairman, and where we're at in that process is we'll be meeting with him tomorrow, I believe. And under this is Fairview Lane, is municipal arterial program with the Department of Transportation is 75% at 93,000, and the city of Espanola at 25% at 31,000. Camino Miramontes is municipal arterial program as well. The state's coming in with 55,199, and the city of Espanola at 24%. That actually 25%, 18,400. The third is a local government road fund, not a specific project, but it's just a road fund, the general road fund. And MMTOT at 75% is 162,000. And our portion is 54,000, Mr. Chairman. In regards to Silky Way, we again, Mr. Chairman, we were waiting for provisions for the proposed layout from our architect Doug Patterson. Riverside Drive utility infrastructure. This is a project that I've been well aware of, even prior to becoming the city manager. I met with the Senator Heinrich's office, the Army Corps of Engineers, Rob Apodaca, his daughter, who I believe works for him. I forget who else was on the call, Mr. Chairman, but it's the U.S. Corps of Army Engineers confirmed that they're trying to appropriate funds for this. Congresswoman Stransberry announced she was giving 22 million, but that was just an authorization, Mr. Chairman. The funds hadn't been appropriated. And Mr. Apodaca set up the UCACE to get the funds appropriated. We do have them currently, and they are going to wait within the next 45 days the federal budget's approval. So the city of Espanola submitted a water trust board application for additional funds seeking 13.5 million, which could be used for the city's match for the Army Corps of Engineers funds that will be coming in. So it's a win-win situation. Obviously, this pertains to New Mexico 68, Mr. Chairman. And it's going to be a phased out project, given the amount of funds that are being appropriated. And I'll be working with Senator Lujan's office. And the actual appropriation, Mr. Chairman, the way I'm understanding it, was written in by Congresswoman Stransberry, but actually appropriated by our Congresswoman Fernandez, whose district we lie in. So I'll be working with Chris Garcia and her staff, who's her deputy chief of staff, and looking to make sure that the appropriation is granted through the next budget funding, which is on a 45-day, what I'd like to call Band-Aid. As we all know, the federal government did not shut down, but they extended it out 45 days. So, and I'll be working with Senator Lujan's office, who, in my opinion, Mr. Chairman, is a little more direct when it comes to northern New Mexico, because he represented us in Congress and he is from northern New Mexico, and so he understands the needs and although Senator Heinrich is our senior senator and actually sits on a budget subcommittee, I believe that we need to include our other senator as well. And that's it for my report, Mr. Chairman.
Perfect, great. Mayor Pro Tem, anything?
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Lujan, for your report concerning Calle Miramontes, something that I've had inquiry after inquiry after inquiry after inquiry concerning where we're at with this. I'm almost embarrassed to answer that question for a constituent at this point. I had been told at one time that it was almost done being engineered. Then I was told that it was done being engineered, but that we lacked a plan for the drainage on the back, and the drainage was street drainage. The natives had decided they no longer wanted us to drain into the bosque because of some type of little mouse that was endangered. The last time that I spoke with the city manager, he had told me that he was working with NMDOT to get a easement to connect to some type of drainage that they were installing themselves on that side. He told me at that time that once that plan for the drainage was in and the state signed off on it for us to connect to it, that Miramontes was basically ready to go. I need to know exactly where that's at. I want truths, even if they're ugly truths. I need to know. I need to know what is going on with that situation. It's something that has been in the works for way, way too long. These people have waited a long, long time for this to happen. We keep pushing it back and we're just not making any gains on it. So at least East Pueblo is 90% complete. I wish I had some type of answer as to where we're at exactly with this and what the holdup is. So if I could get more clarification on that moving forward. Concerning the match money, I feel like I'm frustrated with that too, just like these gentlemen without a budget. It's really difficult to not be able to look at your budget and say, okay, I think I can do this with this. So the person that comes in to finance is a critical part of this puzzle. I feel like they're inheriting a lot, and we're also going to be expecting a lot. Do you know what I mean? So I just hope that we can make sense of it all very quickly and we can give them the answers they need. And then we can get the answers we need also so that we can be on top of things.
Mr. Chairman, Madam Mayor Pro Tem, from what I'm understanding on Miramontes, this is a shovel-ready project. The city has no control of the right-of-ways, and especially as they pertain to the Native Americans. However, Madam Chair, Mr. Chairman, Madam Mayor Pro Tem, the Department of Transportation has right-of-way agreements with tribal governments, and this would be their field. But in my meeting tomorrow with Mr. Apodaca, I will make that a priority. I did see this as a shovel-ready project, and again, as I explained in my interview with the 5 counselors that attended, the biggest issue has been there's been no quality assurance and there's been no quality control on the oversight of any of these projects. The engineering firms have been doing basically what they want and running amok within the city and billing us for what we don't really even know. And I'm getting a control of that. And absolutely, Madam Mayor Pro Tem, I agree with you. It's very, very vital. Being that the finance director will be coming in soon and has to hit the ground running, as I have had to, and I expect the same from her. So it's to me, these projects that have been long overdue, I'll get moving in the hopper immediately. And I will work with Mr. Apodaca. He has been an asset to the city as far as what I can see. And I've known Mr. Apodaca for a long time, since he was the director of local government under Department of Finance. And so we just have to move these projects forward. And I will work with our major contacts, of course, Secretary Cerna and the executive director, Jerry Valdez. Both these gentlemen are from the Valley. So they will work with us to assure that we get things done.
And then I'd like to just chime in there. City manager is Mr. Apodaca is always welcome for my committee. So he's welcome to join us our next committee meeting.
Absolutely, Mr. Chairman.
Whenever you guys see fit.
Follow up, Chairman.
Go ahead, Mayor Pro Tem.
I don't know if everybody else heard it, but additional 28,000 to do a redesign on that State Road 76 project. What is that?
Was that your question too, Councilor Salazar? Mr. Chairman, Madam Mayor Pro Tem, we just received that day, according to the engineering firm, Wilson and Company, again, Mr. Chairman, Madam Mayor Pro Tem, no oversight over any of our projects. In the last 2 years, there's been no oversight. The engineering firms are running amok. So what they're claiming now, and I want to have a follow-up from NMDOT on this, before we sign off on any checks, before I request $28,000 to pay for this, is the design outdated? This is what they're claiming, that our design is outdated. That's the only clarification I got from them, and it came from Sally through this engineering firm, who now they need to deal with me. And I will follow up with David Martinez from District 5, who is the construction engineer, to see why. I mean, this is not making any sense to me. Who outdates it? And you know, really, Mr. Chairman and Madam Mayor Pro Tem, I'm not understanding why the NMDOT is sending small project like this out to private engineering firms, or why we even are getting them involved when they can do this in-house. They
I
have
think we
designing
have
and
some
building
answers.
department.
Mr. Sargent just unmuted himself and put his video on. So sorry to interrupt, but he may have a little bit of answer.
Good evening, Council Chair Torres and members of the committee. I do have a little bit of more information that might bring some light to this project on State Road 76. With the previous city manager, we did sit down along with the engineer for Wilson and Company with NMDOT, the person that was kind of holding this project up. The main issue that the person had was that at first we had requested this project to get done, and we were going to use automated start and stop signage on State Road 76 for vehicle traffic. The NMDOT engineer did not agree with that and said that we needed to get that redone to where there was 24-hour pilot car for that project. Based on that, the project was sent out to bid again, and that's when the project was increased by, I believe, $1 million just for that piloting request by NMDOT. COVID hit, everything kind of stopped. It came back, and we met with this person via a phone call and through Zoom, and I have the entire meeting, which was pretty much over the phone / Zoom, but I did record it, and I can share that with City Manager Lujan for him to understand what he was trying to say. It was like we were trying to hit a moving target. Every time we tried to tie down the gentleman from NMDOT as to what they wanted from us to be able to get this project to proceed, we were getting sidetracked. So what we ended up doing is asking, what can we do now to get this project going? The response was, well, now you don't need a pilot car. I think we can get away with using the signage and the automated lighting systems that were initially set up. But you folks need to set up information boards up and down State Road 76 at the entrance from 68 to State Road 76, informing people of possible delays or alternate routes to get past the construction on the road. So I will share that with City Manager tomorrow. I will share that entire voice conversation that was held. That way he understands kind of the frustration that we have been going through with NMDOT on this state road project.
Let me chime in here, Chairman, please.
Sure.
First and foremost, NMDOT specs have not changed in years. Those have not changed since before COVID. The specifications for the job still remain the same. I can see the cost for the job increasing as time goes by because materials have risen. I understand that. Now, a redesign for a $28,000 to me, I don't think the project needs to be redesigned. It has already been designed. The city of Espanola has paid for the design. We did get the holdback because of the way that do you have something that I don't know? I'm gonna yield to Elijah because he's wiggling in his chair.
Mr. Chair, Mayor Pro Tem. So I was in on some of those meetings there that we had with the engineers for this project. And the additional 28,000, which we were kind of confused on ourselves, from what I understand, from what they explained to us, was that it was a redesign once again of the traffic engineering for that project. And also, since the lead engineer who has stamped those projects at that time from the engineering firm is no longer with them, they were wanting to go through it and I'm just, yeah, I understand. It's a head shaker to us too on that one. Basically, they weren't feeling comfortable with the stamping of their person, even though they were, yeah, I know that they were paid by that company and they were okay at that time with that company, but they were wanting to put their names on it essentially and stamp off on that. So that was part of it was the traffic engineering, which has been a nightmare. Like I said, I wasn't directly involved with it, but I've been around long enough to know what happened with those. And with NMDOT on there, that kept changing on us, and requests from the traffic engineers, more than just the traffic itself. There was a lot of requests coming from an engineer out of District 5. So the 28,000, I believe, was that cost in there. It was the actual traffic redesign again, and then also to restamp those plans with the current engineer there, because they were not feeling quite comfortable with the stamp from the previous engineer of their firm. So that's the kind of stuff there that we were not agreeing with, and Miss Sally Baxter, myself, Mr. Sargent, we were all involved in that one there. You, Mr. Doe.
On a
Yes,
paper.
because their
on a
license on there,
design.
it's their license that goes on that,
That,
but it was a
that-
license from their firm, so that,
but that signature is a lifetime signature.
well,
When an
that's weird,
architect
that's.
signs off on a plan. an
That's
engineer
exactly what
signs off,
we asked
it's
them at
life-
that time too, and that was exactly what we expressed that during that Zoom meeting on that one. Like I said, Mr. Sargent's correct on all this stuff here, but from what I remember on there, that's a lot of what they were asking for on that was the redesign on that and the restamping of those plans due to their feelings that they needed to do that, which we didn't see a reason as to why they would need to do that. So I think Mr. Apodaca also had some information on that too, that he may be able to help with that. So.
Hey, Jeff, did you have anything else to add? I see the hand up.
Yes, sir. One additional item. Some of the blueprints or the plans that were made for this project, there were certain pages that had big red X's across them. So the NMDOT engineer was saying that based on those blueprints, still having some of those red X's, meaning that those pages were invalid. The information that that we would be giving a contractor would be invalid information or information that could be misinterpreted to where they bid on the project incorrectly. So his request was that those pages be eliminated and like Elijah said, the other information. So yeah, it was a little bit of everything, but it was at the request of the engineer from NMDOT.
I feel like the city of Espanola has been jerked around in this project long enough. It's already gotten to the point where it's totally and completely ridiculous. It makes me wonder if this project is ever going to get off the ground. It's something that has been in the works for, gosh, 8 years probably, and been engineered and ready to go for 5, and still not one pebble has been turned over in an effort to put that pipe in the ground. To me, this is the epitome of government bullshit, and there's no other way for me to say it. I'm just so sick of this. Like, everybody needs to sit down at one table and figure out where the hell we're at and what the hell we're doing, and finally decide to get this done. It's unacceptable to me what has happened, how they've pushed us back and pulled us here. Now Jeff is saying that they don't really need a traffic study. To me, that's all like somebody is just, seems like, I don't know what if it's sabotage or if it deals with not really wanting the project to happen. I don't know, but something is going on here that I'm not understanding, because there's way too much going on for this project to have not gotten off the ground. It's not that big of a project. It's a big project, but it's not that big of a project. It's not Riverside Drive here. So to me, this is just, it's awful what has happened here. It's sad that, you know, we sit at this desk month after month after month after month, year after year after year after year and asking about this project. And we're no closer today than we were 5 years ago. And that just makes me sad. It makes me sad for my community that how do we move this community forward? If we can't provide basic things like this sewer project, you know, remember also that Prince Ranch is still waiting for sewer. And if this project has taken this long and we're still not off the ground on that side, gosh, that means that it's possible that we might not have sewer in Prince Ranch for another 10 years. That breaks my heart. Like, I just don't like this. I don't like the way it's gone down. I think we need to sit down with the powers that be, figure it out, and find out why we haven't been able to pull this off and get some real answers.
All righty, thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Councilor Salazar, anything?
No, it's
Okay.
good already.
Mayor Pro Tem, Council Chair, one quick last item that I did put in the chat. Just so we all understand, we do have this material in hand. It's at water and wastewater and it's covered in protected, so material costs are not an issue in this project.
All righty, well, looks like looks like City Manager, you've got your hands full with this one as well.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman, this is right up my alley. Having worked there for 17 years, I understand the bureaucracy and I agree with Madam Mayor Pro Tem, and we need to sit down with the powers that be and resolve this because I think Elijah, I think Jeff, you'd all both agree with me that why do we need to pay for a redesign? Especially on a traffic study when it's already been stamped, it's already been, you know, is somebody putting money in somebody else's pocket? I mean, that's how I'm gonna look at this, you know, really. An additional 28,000 for what? Who are they taking advantage of? The people of Española, but that's where we need to put a stop.
All righty, thank you, everybody. Back to the November 7th meeting, that is Election Day. What day would y'all like to switch our meeting to, or do you want to just shoot into December?
We have a public safety meeting on the next day on the 8th, so the 9th is fine with me. That's not a problem. Or any time that the committee wants, it's totally up to you guys. Remember that we have a regular council meeting on the next Tuesday, which is going to be a long council meeting because we normally don't have that second meeting in oh no, this is October, ¿verdad? No, it will be November. We normally don't have that second meeting in November because of the Thanksgiving holiday. So that meeting on that Tuesday should be extra long. I don't think anybody's going to want to have another meeting that week. So my recommendation would be to go oh, wait a minute. We don't have we don't have public safety on the 8th. We have public safety on the 1st because it's the first Wednesday of the month.
First Wednesday. Mhm.
So we don't have anything on that 8th. If that's what you want to do, that's fine.
Councilor Salazar,
Or the 14th is okay too. Totally up to you guys, whatever is convenient for you.
I'm good that week, whatever you decide, I'm fine.
okay. If you don't mind, I don't want to make a decision tonight. Let me get with Councilor Manny Martinez as well. And then I've taken the 8th or the 14th, and I'll let him know, let him see what his input is. Thank you.
I think finance and public community services meets on that week after the 7th. I think they meet on the Tuesday and the Wednesday on the 14th and 15th, if I'm not mistaken. So I think that leaves you the 8th, the 9th, the 16th before that holiday week.
Yeah, and I'm probably gonna have to shoot for the 16th because I'm gonna be out of town the 9th. But let me get together and I'll shoot you guys an email if that's fine.
That's okay with me. No problem, whatever you decide, Chairman.
All right, buenas tardes. You guys have a good evening and Dios me lo
Likewise.
bendiga.
Thank you, Mr.
Bye.
Chairman.